Greetings everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be looking at a similar challenge to what we did last time with Sunderland. However, we are going to head across to the Vanarama National, formerly known as the Conference, and give £1 billion to Solihull Moors. They're my local team, so I'm going to give them a load of cash. I'm going to give them a very big transfer budget and the highest wage budget possible. And we're going to see what they can do in the Football League. Are they going to turn into a dominant superpower to challenge the likes of Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal, etc., Barcelona, further away from the English leagues? Or will they stay where they are? Let's go and give them the finances now and find out. So I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today, guys. So we're going to head across here to Solihull Moors. They're currently sat 17th in the Vanarama National. Obviously, no games have been played yet, so don't worry about that. And we're going to go into edit the club details. And we're going to set the reputation to 10,000. That'll enable them to get better players. And we're going to go into the finances and we're going to give them £1 billion bank balance, and we're going to give them a transfer budget also of £1 billion, and we're going to give them a wage budget of 5 million, I believe it is. Yep. So there we go, £1 billion bank balance, £1 billion transfer budget, £5 million wage budget, and 10,000 in reputation. Let's come back after a year and see what has happened, how they've performed in the league, and who they have signed. So in the first season they finished 11th in the league with 64 points from 46 games. Quite middle of the road, that I kind of expected better. Let's go and see what kind of transfer business they did in that period. So as we can see here, not really a lot done. They've brought in Juma Omar on loan from MK Dons, Mark McKee on loan from Stevenage, Paul Keegan from Doncaster for 13.5k, Alan McCormack from Brentford for 30k, Jose Semedo for 54k, Greg Halford from Cardiff for 120k, Damien Perquis for 54k, Sean Maloney from Hull on a free transfer, and Stuart Taylor from Southampton also on a free transfer, along with various other frees. Can't really see anyone that I know out of those free ones really. So that was that season. Out the door there's various frees including Luke Rogers, Callum Flanagan, Nathan Vaughan, Pearson Mwanyanogo. Oh, forget that, guys, I can't pronounce that. So that's the first season. So let's see if their next season was any better. So yes, this time around, much more like it, with 108 points from 46 games for Solihull Moors, 32 victories, 12 draws and 2 defeats, pulling well clear. They went up along with Hartlepool to League 2. Let's go and have a look at their transfer business, see who they signed in that period. So plenty more spent this time, with £43 million total incoming of players. Ben Woodburn in there at 9 million, rising to 14.25. Mason Mount from Chelsea for 6.75. Niall Ennis from Wolverhampton 5.25 million. Taylor Moore from Bristol City 4.7. Andre Green from Aston Villa 3.2. Ben Godfrey and Harry Toffolo from Norwich for 3 and 2.3 million. Tenai Watson from Reading, Michael Hector from Chelsea, Kevin McDonald from Fulham, Josh McEachran from Brentford, Ashley Westwood from Burnley, and various others. There's a few frees in there as well. Vahid Hambo would be a really good signing for that league, so I'm sure he'd have done well there. Out the door there's been various frees, kind of a few guys they bought in last season, and the likes of Alan McCormack. Stuart Taylor retired after coming here from Southampton. Darren Acton has retired. Liam Daly's been released on a free along with Jordan Fagbola. But that was the transfer business they conducted in the 17-18 season. Let's go and look at the league position for the following season. So that's going to be the 18-19 season. And no sooner do they enter League 2 do they leave it. Via the top spot, Solihull Moors win the League 2, Sky Bet League 2, with 96 points, of 14 points cushion over Coventry. Leighton Orient in third. Crawley completes the set to go up. Forest Green and Grimsby go down. But with an average points per game of 2.09, Solihull Moors were comfortably the best team in League Two for this season. That can be attributed to the signings made in the previous season. Let's see if they did any transfer business during this season to help bolster their team to enable that championship win. So no, nothing incoming in that season for Solihull Moors, but going the opposite way. Simeon Moller was given a free transfer along with Andre Green going to Nottingham Forest for 1.6 million. He came in from Villa, remember. Sean Maloney has retired. Stuart Taylor appears to have retired again, even though he'd retired in the previous season, so I'm not sure what happened there. Harry White and Amari Sterling-James have also been handed free transfers. Total of 1.6 million through the door. No players bought, so they've done really well to win League Two. But then again, the difference in class between League Two and the Vanarama National on this game isn't massive, so that isn't the biggest shock in the world. So let's see what happened in the 1920 season when they enter League One. And much like the season before it, it resulted in another win for Solihull Moors, who followed up their League Two championship victory with a League One title, 89 points. This time round, 24 wins from 46 with an average points total of 1.93 per game. They were comfortably the best here. Oxford put up a late fight with 85 points, only 4 points off, with some 9 points back to Southend in third, who complete the 3 to go up into the championship. But Solihull Moors are continuing their rise here. Let's head across over to the transfer area and see if they made any signings this season. Again, no signings for Solihull Moors in that season. However, going the opposite way, there's been a host of free transfers. Jose Semedo has retired, along with Damien Pequi, Ryan McLaughlin, Kevin Conboy, Norte, Nathan Kelly, Baboy Traore, Xavi Carmona, Charlie Morris and Aladapi Afolian and Paul Keegan all handed free transfers who have left the club as the club are looking to build towards the future. They are now in the championship. Let's see what happened in 2021. Well, I guess some of you were expecting Solihull Moors to continue their romp through the Football League. However, they finished 12th in their first season in the championship with a 68 point total, average points of 1.48 per game. Some 15 points off the leaders Aston Villa, who went through on goal difference ahead of Wolves and Burnley. Wigan, Derby and Southend are relegated. Solihull Moors have done well in their first season in the championship. Let's head across to the transfer area and see if they did any business. A bit more action this time round for Solihull Moors, who bought in Jack Colback for 1.4 million, Brandon Thomas Asante from MK Dons for $1 million, Callum Harriott from Preston from 190k, Marlos Marino from Man City for 5.75 million, Tosin Adarabayo for 3.6 million from Manchester City, Joe Rankin Costello on loan from Tottenham, Joni from Everton for 2 million, Peluigi Golini from Aston Villa for 4 million, Marcus Thompson for 15.25k from Leeds, Hadi Sacco 7.75 million, their highest spend that season in the transfer market, DeAndre Yedlin from Newcastle for 400 grand, Ben Pearson 300k, Brad Smith for 2.5 million from Wolves, Duncan Watmore comes in on a free transfer after being released by Sunderland, Ewan Hughes from Man City on loan, and also Derek Lumsden from Huddersfield, a regen player who has quite a bit of promise. Going the opposite way then is Taylor Moore who goes to Middlesbrough for a 5.5 million agreed fee, Jed Wallace to Norwich for £7 million, and the rest are all sent either on loan or on freeze. Derek Lumsden has been sent back to Gillingham on loan to continue his development. Joey O'Brien has retired at the end of that season. Let's see if their next season in the Championship was any more fruitful than the first. And what a difference a season makes in the Championship now. Solihull Moors won the Sky Bet Championship in 21-22 by a total of 13 points with an average points total of 2.11 points per game. In second was Watford, and QPR go up via the playoffs, who finished on 80 points. So that's that's quite a really good performance there from Solihull Moors. 28 games won from a total of 46, 13 draws and only 5 defeats. The only team in the league to finish with a single figure games lost total. Blackburn, Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry go down to League One. Let's head across to the transfer window and see if any business was done during that season. So a small but select bit of transfer business for Solihull Moors this season. Ben Gibson comes in from Brighton for £9.5 million. Sam Johnson from Hull for £3.5 million. Oliver Burke from Salzburg for 1.7 or Leipzig, sorry, for £1.7 million. And Francis Coquelin from Arsenal for £2.7 million. Callum Harriott is out the door to Swindon for 250 grand, and after coming from Aston Villa last season for 4 million, Pierluigi Golini has headed to Crystal Palace for 7 million, so a 3 million pounds profit there for Solihull Moors. Vlad Hambo has been handed a free transfer along with a few other players in there. Nathan Eccleston, who's been there for a while now, Lewis Page, Chris Atkinson and many more. A few players are out on loan. Derek Lumsden, the regen they signed from Huddersfield, has now gone to Southend. So that completes that season. They're now in the Premier Division, guys, so let's go to the Premier Division and see how they're getting on. So their first season after gaining promotion from the Championship, Solihull Moors finished in 15th position with 42 points in total from 38 games. An average points per game of 1.11. It was a tough season for Solihull Moors, who adapted to the life in the Premiership for the first time in their history, and they struggled really. They did enough to avoid relegation though, and there was some 12 points clear of Aston Villa, who went down with QPR and Burnley, but there was some way off the pace. Manchester United winning the league this year. Solihull Moors will need to improve next season if they are to stay in the Premier League. Let's check the transfer business for the 22-23 season. And their first season in the Premier League saw a whopping £104 million spent by Solihull Moors, bringing in Uche Agbo from Liverpool, Axel Tuanzebe from Everton for large money, Yassine Brahimi came in from Crystal Palace, Kieran Trippier from Tottenham, Daryl Williams from Sheffield United for £30 million. Cameron Borthwick-Jackson came in from Burnley from 16 million. Alan Black from Rangers, a regen. Loris Brandino from Arsenal for 3.5 million. Tahith Chong from Man United for 3.3 million. Johannes Guys from Gelsenkirchen, or aka Schalke, for 8.5 million. Mickey Cooper Richards from Derby. Joe Allen, the experienced Welsh wizard, the Welsh Pirlo as he is known, comes in on a free transfer. Juninho Bacuna for 4.4 million, and Simon Drury from Norwich completes the set at 500k. Going the opposite way, Duncan Watmore, bought in for a free transfer, goes to QPR for £3.3 million. Brad Smith, bought in from 2.5 million, now goes to Sunderland for £6 million. And Josh McEachran has gone to Aston Villa for 1.8 million, along with a couple of loan deals, and a majority of which were on frees. Out of the door, Jack Colback came in last season but has left for free. Could be a good signing for a smaller club maybe. But that was the first season in the Premier Division. Let's check the next season and see if any of those signings made the grade. So a slight improvement by Solihull Moors, but again they seem to struggle. Finishing in 14th this time with 43 points, 1.13 points per game, slightly up from 1.11 in their previous season, their inaugural season in the Premier Division. But again, they struggled. Middlesbrough, Brentford and Wolves went down. Man City were the winners this time round. Let's head across to the transfer window and see what they bought in. So players in, we have Ashraf from Porto for 6.75 million, Lisandro Isasa from America for 10.5 million, Alex Askin from Stoke for 15 million, Jonathan Hoyos for 4.2 million, Frank Schober from Red Bull Salzburg for 13.25 million, Wilfred Ndidi for 7.75 million from Sunderland, Dominic Solanke from Chelsea for 5.25, Paul Fox from Rangers for 400k, and John Joe Shelvey in on a free transfer. Another ex-Swansea player along with Joe Allen joins the team. Going out the opposite way, Joe Allen leaves the squad after an initial season. Joni has also gone on a free, along with Marlos Moreno, who cost a lot of money. Johannes Guys goes to Gelsenkirchen for 11.5 million. I'm sure he came from them. He came from them for 8.5. He left the following season for 11.5. £3 million profit there for Solihull Moors. Job done. Paul Fox, brought in from Rangers, goes to Hearts on loan to continue his development. So let's see if next season was any better. So a better all-round performance here in the 9th season for Solihull Moors. 49 points in total, an average points per game of 1.29 this time. 10th in the league, 14 wins from 38 games. Still in the minuses for goal difference though. They need to look at working on that. Man City again with a massive win here. 14 points separate them and second placed Arsenal. Sunderland, Hull and Burnley go down. Let's go to the transfer window for another time to see what Solihull Moors did and didn't. 4 bits of business for Solihull Moors. Jonathan Gilchrist come in from Newcastle for 8.5 million. Roman Zobnin for 4 million. Tony Trinidad de Vilhena on a free. And Marshall Walker from Liverpool for 450 grand. Going in the opposite direction, John Joe Shelby leaves the team along with Michael Hector, DeAndre Yedlin, and various others. Ben Pearson goes to Everton for 2.9 million. Derek Lumsden, who came in from Huddersfield, you'll remember, has gone to Derby for 275 grand. Hadi Sacco has gone to Middlesbrough for 2.5 million, along with Harry Toffolo, who heads in the same direction for 2.9 million. Alex Askham has gone to Watford for 17.25 million. And Lisandro Isasa has ended up with Manchester United for £21.5 million. A really good profit there. And Tenai Wilson is now with Brighton. Now we're going to go into our 10th season now, guys, and we're going to see where they are in the Premier Division and what transfer business they did. Then we're going to take a look at the squad and their team in the history, see if we can find any players that might be worth looking at for any long-term saves. So let's go and check out the final and 10th season of the Solihull Moors save. So slight regression on the previous season, back down to 13th here with 11 wins from 38 games, 44 points in total, 1.16 average points, kind of like their previous 2 seasons prior to last season. And I think that's probably about as good as they're going to get, really. They've still got Liam McDonald as the manager, who was with them at the outset. They could probably do with getting a new manager in and a bit more experience and a higher quality of manager. That would probably help them. So let's go and have a look at the transfer business conducted during that window. And Jack Lewis comes in from Swansea for 29.5 million. Ibrahim Kouadio from Porto for 10.75. Carl Gibbons from Arsenal for 2.9. Arthur, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce that, 7 mil from Bournemouth. Oliver Wright from Chelsea for 2.1 million. Glyn Brown from Crystal Palace for 3.1. Herving Lozano from Arsenal for 9.75. D'Amico Duhaney for 6.75. Andre Stelea from Liverpool for 15.5. Shinichi Shinazaki from Saitama United for 3.1 million. Tom Smith from Wolves for 500k. And Peter Christopherson from Chelsea complete the £99 million worth of transfer business in the 25-26 window. Yassin Brahimi has finally retired. Niall Ennis, who came in from Wolves a good few seasons ago, has gone to West Ham for £7 million. Jonathan Gilchrist joins Leicester for 9.25. Kieran Trippier, another, has retired. Jonathan Hoyos, Everton for 4.75 million. Tony Trinidad de Vilhena has gone to Bournemouth for 800 grand, and Wilfred Ndidi has ended up at Stoke, and there's various other loans in there. So that completes the 10 season run through save here with Solihull Moors. Let's go and have a look at the best 11, which we can see from here. So we've got Alan Black in goal, 160 games for Solihull Moors. So let's have a look at Alan Black, and he looks quite good, doesn't he, for a keeper? Scottish as well, 52 caps for his country. You'd certainly be happy if he was your keeper if you were a Scotland person, or Scotland fan, should I say. Right back is Ben Godfrey, who's played 128 games, scoring 4 goals. He's now at Sheffield Wednesday. Let's have a look at what went on there. So he was with Norwich, he was bought for 3 million and then went to Sheffield Wednesday on a free in the 22-23 season, where he's been a regular fixture in the team. Centre backs are Tosin Adara forget it. Good position, good determination, good leadership, good strength, good jumping, good heading. A really solid centre back. Brought in from, I believe it was Man City, valued at 15.5 million. Nigerian, was purchased for just 3.6 million back in 2021 after loan spells in the Championship. He has been an ever-present fixture for Solihull Moors, and he's probably worth looking at in some of your saves. Michael Hector, who has now left the club on a free transfer, was bought in also from Chelsea. He could still do a job at a half-decent Championship team. He played a variety of games after moving to Solihull Moors from Chelsea for £1.7 million in the 17-18 season. He played regularly right through until the 22-23 season. Pardon me. And he now plays in Turkey. Left back was Harry Toffolo, who's now with Reading after initially going to Middlesbrough. Let's have a quick look at him. So he played quite regularly right through to 21-22 season. He was then loaned out to QPR. He went to Middlesbrough for 2.9 million before a switch to Reading for 1.3 million pounds. He's done all right, to be honest. We've got Uche Agbo, who is a Nigerian defensive midfielder with very, very reasonable stats. 30 years old now. He was bought from Watford after initially going to Liverpool for 13.75 million in the 2021 season. He then went to Solihull Moors, and he's played really well for Solihull Moors in the seasons he's been there. He's averaged above 7 apart from his first season. He's been reliable. He's been ever present. He could be worth looking at for your saves. Josh McEachran, now with Blackburn, now 33 years old, now getting on. But he was their captain at one point. And he played quite a number of games for them, averaging above 7 right the way through to the Championship. Didn't get the chance in the Premiership, although he did make a move to Aston Villa and played 6 games, but didn't really have an impact. Picked up again for Crystal Palace, and Blackburn down in League 2 have really dropped through the footballing leagues. That's a shame. Ashley Westwood, the midfield centre, is now retired. So let's have a look at his career stats. He came to Solihull Moors in the Vanarama National for 775 grand and averaged above 7 right up until the Championship, where he was given a free transfer to St Johnstone, and by which point he'd pretty much given up, I think. But he was really, really good. A lot of assists in there for Solihull Moors. He could be worth, if you can get him on a cheap, have a look at that, guys. Taffy Chong, bought in from Manchester United, now valued at £25 million. Bought for just 4.1 million. He's played a lot of games, hasn't really struck gold yet with his average ratings, but he's young and he's got pace. He could be one to look at. Ben Woodburn needs no introduction on this game, valued at 12.5 mil. He was brought in right at the start for 14.5. Scored an abundance of goals, has also assisted a fair amount, has struggled in the Premiership really to find his scoring boots, didn't score a goal last season in 19 tries. He should develop though. Now this guy here was quite a surprise for me. He's turned out to be really decent. Niall Ennis is at Wolves at the start of the game. He's got a lot of pace, he's very strong, he's got good stamina, and he can score as well, and he could well be worth looking at. They picked him up for just 5.25 million, and he's scored 20 goals in 40, 26 in 44, 20 in 44, 8 in 26. He scored 11 for West Ham on loan. In the Premiership, he scored 12. You know, if you're looking for something a bit different and an English player, he could well be worth looking at. Darryl Williams, a regen who they've bought in, striker, has done really well. Cost 30 mil from Sheffield United, but has scored goals each season and made a fair amount of assists too. Jonathan Bond, goalkeeper with Sheffield Wednesday, now was with Solihull Moors for a while, but was never really first team. Shea Facey, defender, with Wigan. Played a few seasons with Solihull Moors, but went to Wigan when they were in the Championship. League One outfit Wigan. Managed to get them up into the Championship. Was played regularly. A fair enough player. And we've got Oliver Burke, who's very quick. Has good strength. Has been handed a free transfer, which is bizarre. Because he's very good. Look at them stats. You'd definitely have him in your team, wouldn't you? Even if it was just as a substitute. Hasn't really done it for Solihull Moors though. I've got to say, those stats aren't great, but you know, there's every chance to take him on and do something with him. Laurie Dalla Valle. Cameron Borthwick Jackson is still there, valued at 13.75. They bought him in for 21 million in the 22-23 season, and he's been a regular fixture ever since, and he's a good player. Good signing. And finally, Vahid Hambo, now with Huddersfield, valued at 250k. Brought in for a free transfer, scored a decent amount of goals in League 2. Didn't really get his shooting boots on in League 1. Played only one game in the Championship before Derby came calling for free. Scored 7 in the first season for Derby, 3 in the next season before making a move to Fulham. And he's done alright. He's not, you know, he's not a world beater, but he's cheap. You could pick him up, you know, for a decent amount of money. Let's have a quick look at some of their players. So they've got this guy they've just brought in, Shinichi Shinazaki, Achraf, who they've brought in from Porto for 9 mil. He's done not that great, but again, Axel Tuanzebe, centre half / defensive midfielder. Jonathan Gilchrist, regen defender, very decent stats. Only 21 years of age. Juninho Bakuna, now valued at 12.25 million, picked up for 5.75. Was with Groningen before making a move to Stoke. Dunno, hasn't really performed, has he really? 6.5 average ratings. I mean, you can't really recommend that. Carl Gibbons, another regen. D'Amico Duhaney, there's another one in there. Came from Man City originally. Irving Lozano, decent attacking midfielder. Very decent. Comes from Pachua in Mexico. Picked up by Benfica for 15.75. Sold to Chelsea for 34. Then sold to Arsenal for 39. Made his move for 9.75 and has been a good player with good ratings for whatever team he's played in. Jack Lewis looks okay. Developing well. 26 years of age. 6 caps for his country already. Dominic Solanke, 28 years of age, 9 caps for England, valued at 28 million, bought him for 6.5. Has scored, has done reasonably well, has played a bit for Chelsea as well, which is a bit of a surprise because you don't really see him playing in a massive amount of games really, do you? So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this save game file down in the description down below. If you've enjoyed this episode, then please leave a like on the video. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. There's going to be more bits and bobs coming through in the future. Let's have a quick one last look at the profile. See, Liam McDonald is still in as manager. Tosin Adara Bio is the captain. Ben Woodburn, vice captain. Irving Lozano, the key player. And Shinichi Shinazaki is the hot prospect. And they've done alright, haven't they? They've certainly improved a hell of a lot from what they were at the start of the game. It might take them a while to break into the Premier Division. I haven't got time to do that. But if you guys want to crack on with it and see what you can do with them, can you get that Premier League title? Can you take them to the Champions League glory? It's all there. The link will be in the description down below. Do check it out. Give it a whirl, guys. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. But for today, I'm out of time. Speak to you again soon.